Hey everyone, welcome to Wildlife Inspired. I'm your host, Scott Keys. In today's video, there's a very good chance that down in the comments, you are going to hammer me. Find out why right after this. A little something different in this quick thoughts video, and I've never done this before, but I'm going to show you some images of mine, and I'm going to quickly move through the first set, but I'm going to show you one at the end that I think people are going to just hammer me. I showed this image to some of my friends. Some of them laughed. I entered this image into a contest. I really loved the image. I'm going to talk a little bit philosophically about this when we get to the image. But in this video, I'm going to show you 6 images. These are actually images that I submitted to one of the largest bird photography competitions in the world, and I really liked it. Now, I'm actually going to explain to you why I chose these images. So some of this is maybe a little contest related. This is all subjective, and it's all my opinion. This is, in many ways, this is my art, so I get to choose what I put in. Would you put it in? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, but there's one in here I don't know if anybody would have put into a contest. And as I pull up this first image, let me just say, I have been very lucky that the last several years I have made a short list. And a short list just, you don't win. I didn't win anything. I never will. But it's one of the very few contests that I actually enter. I don't enter many contests, but I like this one. So each year I put in 6 images into a portfolio, and I pray that somebody will make the mistake of naming me the photographer of the year for this portfolio. In the last, I think, 3 years, I have been on that short list, and just being on the short list is a nice honor. So I'm going to show you some of the images that I chose. I will tell you with contest images, it's a whole nother video. Typically, I avoid the common bird on a stick. I also like to show diversity, so I may show size, movement, atmosphere. This is the closest to bird on a stick that I have. I will tell you, just me personally, there is something about the curve of this sunflower and the curve of this bird's head that really just synced up. And I thought I'd put in a songbird. And I do it every year. I do a whole new set of images. I don't go back 5 or 10 years looking for old images. I try to use something from the current year. This was the songbird that I chose. Had a waterfowl image that I liked. Oh, here we go. Just a hooded merganser in snow. I love the snow and the white part of that hood, how they blended together. It's a nice atmospheric shot. By the way, not the best waterfowl photograph that I shot, but again, I'm for contests and portfolios, sometimes I'm looking at a range of things to include. So not only did I want to get the waterfowl in there, I also wanted to get this mood. And so I think mood sometimes strikes people. I liked the shorebirds. I wanted to get a shorebird image. I didn't have anything that really glowed or stood out. So I liked this image of a sanderling, head kind of buried in there. One of the things I liked about this image was the contrast between the cool tones of the waves and the warm tones of the water. I've played around with that theme a couple times in some of my photography. I liked motion. I wanted to show a bird in flight. This is a different motion shot. I've got some geese going one way, some geese going another. And this is, by the way, contest images, not edited. So I shouldn't say not edited, lightly edited. You can't do any digital manipulation. So this is all in the field. This is how it appeared. One of the challenges for me on these really slow shutter speeds is to get the heads sharp with motion everywhere else. So you can see the background panning, the birds going the other way added a really interesting dimension to me. The wings have motion, head is sharp. It worked for me. The best image I took last year is one called Tenderness. It's just this is the contest edit. I have another edit, a wall art edit. I actually have it, I think, in my house. One of the very few that I printed in my house. And a moment with a bird species that you don't typically identify as tender. Black vultures, especially when you look at their heads, are not the most beautiful bird in the world. So to see this moment where they're kind of preening and touching, and it felt very, very special to me. My art edit, I will tell you, is a little bit better than this edit. I was playing around with composition, and while this was the moment, the composition in the camera was not ideal for me, so I had to kind of crop it a little bit a certain way. I added in some of that green area on the top right. I did not love that, but the moment overshadowed all of the other imperfections of this. My art edit is a little bit taken. I worked with that green up there. think I have a looser composition because I added a little bit of room on each side. I just liked the composition of my art edit better. But as a contest edit, I thought this was pretty good. And behavior sometimes is really interesting for contests. What do you think? I like this one. All right, let's get on to this one. Oh my goodness, I'm afraid to show you this. This is the one I showed my friends. A couple of them laughed at me and told me I was crazy. The premise around this, you can't see the eye. It's not in focus. And so I'm going to ask you a question when I pull this up. I'm afraid to do it. Here we go. All right, here we go. Wood duck. I'm afraid to show you this because this stump is in focus and the eye is out of focus. And that's not, I shouldn't say it was done intentionally. I'm very aware that that is what it looks like. As I looked at images from this day, I did have the wood duck with the eye in focus, not in that little cutout, but just to the right and left. And it looked very nice. If I posted this, I know 95% of people are just going to tell me it's out of focus. Why are you posting an image out of focus? Not only did I post this, or not only am I posting it, I'm entering it into one of the most prestigious bird photography competitions in the world. And are you crazy? So before we go any further, down in the comments, the first question: can you post an image? Can you share an image? Is it acceptable in your opinion? Of course it's acceptable, but in your opinion, would you do it if the eye was out of focus? So this eye is not in focus. I will be able to zoom in on this a little bit more, and there you can see it. And heck, maybe I should have cropped it in to make it even more obvious. Would you do it? You can see that the stump's the focus, right? That's in focus. Now here's a concept. I told you I was going to talk philosophically around a concept. It's a concept I challenge a lot of people with. People will tell me, I like this image. And one of the first things I do as they're starting, and maybe I'm mentoring somebody or offering some advice, almost every time I ask, explain why you like it. And it gets interesting. A lot of people just tell you, because I like it. And that's not a bad reason, but I think what I'm challenging is, can you explain from the artist's standpoint? Talk to me about the composition. Talk to me about the color. Talk to me about the light. Talk to me about the behavior. What is it that makes it, maybe in an artistic way, what makes it appealing? So in this image, number one, I'm going to explain it a little bit. I wanted to take a little bit of a chance. I wanted to try something that maybe a judge or somebody's going to look at and say, well, that's different. Let me read the caption. And sometimes that's important. The explanation to an artist often matters. Had this concept about, like, if you're in a gallery, you're much more likely to sell images if you're there talking about your experiences. It's neat to see a beautiful image. Sometimes it's even neater to hear the story behind it. And then when you hopefully purchase that piece and it's in your home, you could say to the company, let me tell you about this piece. This is how it happened, because they know the story behind it as well. So very, very interesting. So number one, I thought maybe try something a little bit different. Now, the light is good here. I like the light. This particular image, to me, probably doesn't work with any other species, or very, very few species. What made it work for me is that the red of the eye stood out, and it gave you the illusion that something was there. I wanted the image to be about hiding, to be about concealment in some ways. Now it's hard, if you've ever seen a wood duck, hard to conceal a wood duck. Kind of this thought of like peekaboo, like hide and seek. And the fact that it's just using that tiny little window to reveal itself, but not really show itself. So there was this concept of like illusion and hiding and peekaboo. It was all those kind of like moods to me. And again, maybe trying to be a little bit different or show something. And I'm afraid to show you because not many people like this one. If you view it from afar, it's got an appeal to it. On my Patreon channel, I reversed this using Photoshop. I kind of took a sharp image of the duck and put it behind the thing, and I blurred out the stump. So I reversed it, which would traditionally work. And most people probably would love that image. That image, had it worked in the field, now again, it's a contest, so I can't enter a Photoshopped image. But had that occurred in the field, I might have still entered it. It might have been pretty cool. But I wanted to try something a little different. What I'm wondering is, did I fail? I'm not saying that this image cost me a contest. I really had no intention of ever winning these contests. But like I said, I like to put myself out there. It gives me a reason to participate and do something. So every now and then I do like to enter a contest. But what would you do with this one? So a couple questions down below in the comments. Quick thoughts video, won't take a whole lot of time. Would you have entered this as part of your portfolio or similar image, knowing that the eye wasn't in focus? I asked you before down in the comments, does the eye have to be in focus? And if you could explain that a little bit, in the comments, I try to read them all. Let me know, in what situations might the eye work out of focus? As a rule, pretty hard rule, the eye should always be in focus. That's if you like photography 101, wildlife photography 101 will tell you the eye always has to be in focus. But are there instances where it might work when it's out of focus? And the other thing I just was kind of curious about was this concept of being able to talk through the image and explain it. And are you able to do that with your photography? And does my explanation, so you saw the image and you had a knee-jerk reaction and some of you were like, this isn't good. Did my explanation change it at all? And I'm kind of curious about that. So when I send in this caption, if you're a judge and you read the caption, does that change your impression? And my hope was that it would. My hope was somebody would read that caption and say, wait a second, I get it. He's breaking a rule, but I get why, and I get what he's going for. So I was kind of hoping that would take place. Apparently it didn't. Again, it's a quick thoughts video, not a whole lot of time for this particular video, but I thought I would put it out there. Get a little flash of the contest that I entered, some of the reasons why, my mindset behind why I choose some of the images that I choose in terms of diversity and making sure I get a balance of what's in there. And then finally, that last image, did I make a mistake? So let me know down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this quick thoughts video, a little different than some of the other ones I've done. I thought you might enjoy this one. Let me know down in the comments. If you're not subscribed to the channel, little subscribe button down there. Go ahead and click that bell for notifications, let you know when there's a new video out. As always, thanks for your support on the channel. And I say it every time, I'll say it again. I hope we can continue to find inspiration in wildlife together.